Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm really excited for today's video. It is going to be another makeup ranking video. So I have restarted my makeup ranking series where every single Friday, for as long as it takes, we are ranking every single category in my makeup collection. And today I am ranking my concealer collection for you. I have 16 concealers to rank for you. And as I was trying to figure out how I wanted to rank each of these concealers, I realized that I really, for the most part, like my concealer collection. Like, it was kind of very difficult for me to rank these concealers. I definitely have like my favorites, but then when we get to like the middle, I'm like, okay, like I genuinely really like all of these. So if you guys are excited, if you want to see how I would rank my concealer collection, stay tuned. First, if you have yet to subscribe to my channel and you like project panning content, ranking makeup content, or just chit-chatting about makeup, I would love if you'd consider subscribing before moving on. And other than that, let's get into this ranking video. All right, you guys, like all of my ranking videos, I'm gonna start from my least favorite and we will work our way to my most favorite, starting with my least favorite concealer. It is the Wet n Wild Incognito All Day Full Coverage Concealer. So first of all, I feel like I'm really bad at matching foundation shades, but also concealer shades. Very bad at matching concealer shades or just picking out a correct concealer shade. For some reason, it's very difficult for me. So this is really light, but I also feel like the coverage on this is just like really light coverage, but it says full coverage. I feel like people really love this, and I'm just kind of like, I feel like it's just kind of like, I'd rather just skip this step if this was the concealer that I'm using. I am pretty highly considering decluttering this. You will probably see this in an upcoming declutter. I'm considering decluttering my least favorite product or my lowest ranked product in every video, so that might come at the end of this ranking series. Stay tuned to find out. Coming in at number 15, I have the RMS Uncover Up Concealer. So I think it's really interesting to compare like my favorites from last year, my ranking from last year to this year, but I'm almost 100% positive this was very close to the bottom last year as well. I need to just finish this up. I can't get myself to declutter this because I already have such a significant pan in it, even though I still feel like it's going to take me forever to get through this. But this is a little bit more emollient, a little bit more sticky. It needs to be set. It doesn't offer the most amount of coverage, and I just genuinely don't care for potted concealers all that much, especially if I'm using it underneath my eyes as opposed to like spot concealing, which I never do. So this would just have to be my number 15. And then coming in at number 14, this used to be higher up on the list, I think, but I have my Elsie Complete Remedy Silk Concealer. So this one, again, is a little bit stickier underneath the eyes. The applicator makes it so hard to like actually apply. It's just like annoying packaging. I still like this concealer. I think it's a good concealer, but when I finish this, I know I won't repurchase it. And I honestly just prefer all of the other concealers I'm gonna rank more than this one at this point in time, just due to it being stickier and harder to apply. So I had to rank this one at number 14. Coming in at number 13, I have my Hourglass Vanish Concealer in the shade Creme. This is more drying and a little bit aging underneath the eyes. Usually I mix this with another concealer that's a little bit more hydrating. I've mixed this with my LYS concealer quite a bit lately, and I really like the way that it mixes. Wouldn't repurchase this when I finish it. I think it's expensive. It's just not like the finish I look for in a concealer. It's fine. Like this, pretty much from here on, well, honestly, even like the Elsie concealer, like I like the rest of these concealers I at least like, but this I wouldn't repurchase, and I just like my other concealers better. Coming in, I believe we're at number 12, I have the Covergirl True Blend Uncover Concealer. This one is a pretty full coverage concealer, and I do like this concealer. I think it's really nice. I just don't need a full coverage concealer, so I ranked this one lower because I typically prefer a more medium coverage concealer. And really, like, we're at the point where it's like I kind of like all of these, but like I guess some I just, eventually you have to rank, so you have to put it in a place. This is something I probably would not repurchase just because it's not like an ultimate favorite, so that's why I ranked this one at number 12. Coming in at number 11, I have the Catrice Trueskin High Cover Concealer. So this says high cover concealer, but I don't find this to be like the most full coverage concealer. It is a very thin texture and super comfortable underneath the eyes. I just don't have a good shade match for me. I would consider purchasing this in a better shade match for me because I do really like this one. It is waterproof and says it has hyaluronic acid. I find it to be pretty hydrating underneath the eyes. It doesn't age me. It doesn't look crepey. And overall, I really do like this one. Coming in at number 10, I have this one from Bobbi Brown. So this one is in a peach shade, and it's definitely too dark for me. But I really like the consistency of this, and I would absolutely consider purchasing this in more like my shade. I've been using this almost to like mix with foundations, or sometimes I'll use it to like set my eyes. I've been trying to get creative with ways that I've used this product, but I think it's a really, if you like stick concealers, I think you would really enjoy this one, just because of the shade and how infrequently I used this. I couldn't rank this one any higher. Coming in at number 9, I have the NYX Born to Glow Radiant Concealer. This one is definitely more light to medium coverage, so if you need a more full coverage concealer, I don't think you're gonna like this one. This one has like a puffy applicator, so I also feel like the applicator isn't my favorite, nor do I feel like it's gonna be everybody's cup of tea, but I do feel like this is really nice and natural looking underneath the eyes, also very hydrating. If I'm doing like no foundation but just want to conceal a little under my eyes, I usually use this. This comes in like my car makeup bag. Like if I'm like flying out the door on the run but just want like a little something, I will bring this with and just pop it under my eyes when I get to my destination, and I really like this one. I could see myself potentially repurchasing this. It's not like an absolute staple favorite, but it's one of those like sneaky favorites that I feel like I'm like, oh, I could take it or leave it, but then I would miss it in my collection. So I like the rest of the concealers I'm ranking better than this, except for now I'm looking and I'm doubting myself. Actually, I feel like I would rank this one above the next 4 that I'm going to talk about. So this actually is not my, number 9, you guys. I'm like, okay, sorry to confuse and throw you guys for a potential loop, but my number 9 I feel like would actually be the Dior Forever Skin Correct. This is more full coverage. I do really enjoy this concealer. I still find it to be pretty hydrating underneath the eyes. I've heard people say they feel like this is drying. I don't get that at all. I have mine in the shade 1.5N, and I actually feel like this is a good shade match for me. And for a full coverage concealer, this is like one of my top options. Coming in at number 8 though is a less expensive alternative if you're looking for a full coverage concealer. This is the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. Mine is definitely too light of a shade. I've actually used at least half of this, which is pretty good for me for a concealer that's not in a project pan. I hated the Camo concealer, but I do really like the Hydrating concealer. I don't know that I would repurchase this one when I'm done with it. Just because I feel like I have like my favorite concealers, which we're gonna get to, but this is nice and I'm happy to use this up. If you're looking for a good full coverage drugstore concealer that's hydrating underneath the eyes, I definitely would recommend this. Coming in at number 7, this used to be an absolute staple favorite of mine. This is the Laura Mercier Flawless Fusion. So I used this up and then I didn't have it in my collection for a while and I was really missing it in my collection, and then I repurchased this. And I don't love it as much as I remember loving it. Also, my doe foot is like, it's like janky and like half broken, which like kind of annoys me. This is more medium, like light to medium coverage, still very hydrating underneath the eyes. I'll have no problem using this up. I don't think this is gonna be everybody's cup of tea, especially if you're looking for a more full coverage concealer. But if you're looking for light coverage and hydrating, I do think you would like this. I just have other concealers I clearly like more. Coming in at number 6, I have my e.l.f. Flawless Brightening Concealer. This is super light coverage, but I like to use this almost as like a makeup eraser. So if I'm doing like a winged liner and I screw it up, this is the concealer that I like to reach for. I absolutely would repurchase this concealer specifically to use it as a makeup eraser. I don't use this to conceal underneath my eyes, but I love to use it to like clean up my eye makeup. So that is what I love this one for. Coming in at number 5, I already spoke about this one, but the NYX Born to Glow would actually be at number 5 because I do feel like I would repurchase this one, like 100%. I don't know what I was thinking when I was talking about this earlier. I do really enjoy that one. Coming in at number 4, this is a newer one. This is the LYS Triple Fix Full Coverage Brightening Concealer. I love this concealer. It is really nice and light coverage. It is really nice and lightweight, but still offers a really decent amount of coverage. I don't think it's the most full coverage concealer in my opinion, but this reminds me quite a bit of the Coastis Revealer Concealer. which we're gonna get to, but this is less expensive. I believe this is like $18, and I do really feel like it does brighten underneath my eyes as well. I'm just a huge fan of this one from LYS. I would repurchase this. I think it's really nice, and I would recommend that one. So that would be my number 4. Coming in at number 3, I have this one from Giorgio Armani. This is the Power Fabric Concealer. This one I find to be slightly more drying underneath the eyes than like the LYS, but this one like sets down on its own, and that is why I like this one. It's super easy to blend out. It's a little bit more light medium coverage, not a super full coverage concealer, which I actually don't typically prefer a full coverage concealer, which is why I feel like I like this one so much. This is really expensive, but I would repurchase this one. This is another one sometimes I'll bring with me in like my car bag because it is just so easy to blend out, and I really enjoy this one from Armani Beauty. Coming in at number 2, this one is new to my collection, but I have been in love with this one from Rose Inc. This is definitely more full coverage, my most full coverage that like is a favorite. I hope that made sense, like obviously. Anyway, I have mine in the shade LX20. I really enjoy this shade. You need just the smallest dot of this. It is a really large doe foot, but it's really full coverage, but also really hydrating underneath the eyes. I feel like it just makes the under eyes look like bright, healthy, and fresh. I do like to set this one, but I don't notice any sort of like crepiness or cakiness. Every concealer creases on me because I have creases underneath my eyes, but I do find that this one creases less than other concealers, and I've just been super impressed with this one and a big fan. Absolutely would repurchase this one as well and would recommend. And then I recently brought this back into my collection because I missed it so much. This is my Coastis Revealer Concealer, my one true concealer love. Actually, I would say like my top 3 or 4 like true concealer loves. This is, I would say, medium coverage, but if you let this sit underneath your eyes before blending it out for like 30 seconds to a minute, you can definitely get more full coverage from it, and it is just so hydrating and like healthy radiant, like not glowy, but like just this healthy radiance, or it just brings this healthy radiance underneath the eyes. And I'm just like obsessed. I did not think I was gonna repurchase this one after I finished my other one off because I thought that I liked the Laura Mercier one better. And then I had the Laura Mercier one back in my life and I was like, I don't love this one as much. And then I finished my Coastis Revealer Concealer and I was really missing it. And I was like, I'm eating my words right now because this is just definitely my favorite concealer of all time. It gets so much buzz and so much hype for a reason. Absolutely like 10 out of 10 in my opinion, and would recommend this one. Hands down my favorite concealer in my collection and my favorite concealer that I've ever tried. But so those are my 16 concealers and how I personally would rank them throughout my makeup collection, or like just based on my preferences. That's how I would rank my concealer collection. I would love to know in the comments below, what are some of your favorite or least favorite concealers? Save us some money from the bad concealers. Let us know the good ones. Thank you guys so much for sticking around to watch today's video and for supporting my channel as you guys always do. I love you guys so much, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye.